Welcome everyone. This is our Wednesday Wisdom. Nice move there.
Thank you. Yeah.
This is our Wednesday Wisdom where we go over tips, tricks, and information on band instrument repair. Today we are in our mobile setup. We're going to be taking this stuff to the NAPR conference in Baltimore, Maryland. We leave tomorrow, so we're going to be packing up today. Thought we would give you a little shot from our kind of trade show booth area. We are doing a series. What? I'm just confused. We're in a new place.
It is. It's very new.
It's kind of
the equipment is different. We've got a guy with a satellite dish on his head. He has to stay in one direction, or else the connection is completely it's messed up.
We're testing out our mobile setup, so we'll probably do this same.
Bear with us, folks. Bear with us.
We'll do this same. Hopefully, we'll go live from the show at one point to give you a preview. We are going to be debuting a new tool there. Not really ready to tell you what it is, but it is in this picture that you're seeing right now.
We're not going to even look at it or describe it or anything.
But it is.
It's just going to be.
Yeah, there is.
It's very prevalent.
Yes,
very prevalent.
Yeah, you could say it's in the forefront of our minds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Ryan, we're doing tapered pivot screws. We're doing all sorts of pivot screw stuff. This is the. Gosh, what am I doing here? This is part one. Of five parts.
Five-part series. Part one of 5.
And we're going to be talking about a bunch of different stuff that's going to be in your clinic this coming Sunday at the NAPR conference. Before we do any of that, I wanted to give away one of our...
We got a winner.
We do have a winner. We've got a new hashtag.
It's up here.
It is the True Tapered Pivot.
True Tapered Pivot. Sorry, no graphics this time. I thought about using a sparkler and writing it, but no. True Tapered Pivot.
That is our old school. That's the old school way of doing it.
Whiteboard.
Yeah.
Whiteboard.
So take True Tapered Pivot, put it in the comments below, and you will be entered in the contest for this week's prize. Today's winner is one of our friends from across the pond. It is Parney Wallace. Parney, send me an email to richrich@MusicMedic.com. We will get you your prize. And, of course, we're going to the NAPR clinic tomorrow. We'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll hope to see many of you there. And, Ryan, your clinic is when again?
Sunday, 2 clinics, the same one, just repeated, 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock.
Okay.
I would prefer you guys come to the 3 o'clock because I'll get all my bad jokes out at the 1 o'clock.
Okay, so the late show, that's where
late
I'll
show.
Be. Very good. And so what we are doing is starting this series of pivot screw work to kind of go in depth into the different types of key working that you specialize in. And so, Ryan, we're talking about the True Tapered system, which is something that we coined here. Yes. But first, if you could just give us a little bit of background for those who don't know, they're basically 2 types of hinge systems on a woodwind instrument. So let's start with that, and we'll get into the True Tapered system and go from there.
Yeah, we'll go back to way back to basics, just in case people that are not familiar with repair are watching, like my mom. Hi, Mom. 2 ways to hold a key onto a saxophone or flute or clarinet. One, you have a solid hinge rod. Okay, so the brass tubing is hollow and a solid rod goes right through, and that's how it's attached. Or the key itself is solid and it just has 2 little pivot screws on either end that the key rotates on. That's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the different types of pivot screws that actually hold the key on. The first one we're going to go over is probably the most common, and in my opinion, probably the best, which is the True Tapered system. If you guys are familiar with Mark VI's, high-end Yamahas, Yani, Keilwerth, one of those major brands use this True Tapered pivot screw system.
Okay.
So that's kind of the
background. And Martin too, though.
Martin, yes. There are some older ones as well. Yeah, Martin used them. I'm trying to think of some other ones.
I think you named them: Yamaha, Yani.
Yep.
Keilwerth. Selmer.
Yeah,
Martin.
The older Selmers. Yeah. Newer Selmers use something different, which we'll be going over in later series.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ryan, tell us about. So you've talked about the 2 different types of systems. Why do we call it True Taper?
It's something that is what I call a false tapered system. We're going to go over the True Tapered system this time, and then I think next time we're going over the false tapered system. And you'll see why I call it the True Tapered system and the false tapered system. They look very similar except for one key difference. But we'll save that for the false tapered system. Let's
Okay.
go over the true tapered system.
Okay, cool.
All right, send it over the whiteboard.
I like this one camera
It
angle.
is. It's
I
just.
think
There's
when we sign
no.
off, I'm just gonna like dip under the
We
table.
should just hit the elevator and we're just going to go down to the bottom floor. So, true tapered system. Here's my high-tech whiteboard. It's like you're in school all again. Here is my post face. Here's my post. There we are, like so. And here is my pivot screw that sticks out. Okay, there it is, threaded in the post. There's my pivot screw head. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see this. If not, just do the pinch and zoom. Oh, whoa, look at this. We're pinching and zooming. Pinching and zooming. So there's our post. There's our pivot screw. Okay. At the end of the key, the hinge tube that butts up against it, it needs to have, or it should have, a corresponding hole that matches the taper of that pivot screw, as close to it as possible. This is why I call it the true tapered system. Now, one thing about this pivot screw system is where it actually rides. It doesn't ride on that very point. So it's not like that point hitting against something and that's what it's pivoting on. When this is fully engaged, it actually rides right here and right here. Fitting this is one of those things that you have to do a little bit of both. If you have some looseness in the key, okay, this is probably, not matching up correctly. And what you're going to need to do, first thing you're going to need to do is make sure that your posts are not too far spread. Okay, obviously if the posts are like this, then that key is going to wiggle back and forth. So you want to make sure that your posts, you align your post. Your post spread is not too much. Okay, if you still have a little bit of maybe lateral play or even some of that oscillating play, that's really what you'll feel if this is loose. We have to counterbore. Okay, which we have the counterbore set. I think we talked last week or week before about counterboring pivot screws. Refer back to that. We may put a link in the description here.
Yeah.
Like, share, subscribe. Click the bell. Like, share, and subscribe. So,
Good job.
true tapered pivot. Okay. Hashtag true tapered pivot. Put it in the hashtag. Put it in the comments. But if this is loose, we have a little bit of oscillating play. We have to counterbore the post, which will then allow that pivot screw to stick out further and hopefully engage in the end of that key a little bit better. What you may have happen is after counterboring, that pivot screw will stick a little bit too far in and your key will bind. Okay, it'll feel a little cloudy. That's when you're going to go in there with whatever reamer you may have and actually reform this recess. Maybe put it in a little bit further. So hopefully it matches a little bit better with our pivot screw. So there you are. That's it. True tapered pivot screw system.
Now, Ryan, I'm off camera, but I think
That's right. Hopefully we can still hear you. He's right over there.
I think they can hear me. I just have a question.
Sure.
As far as pivot screws go, are we doing head or headless? Can you do this procedure with a headless screw, like on the older Yamahas? Or?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. What I'm talking about here, as far as the example, is more of the Mark VI style, where the pivot screw. Let's see if I can draw a pivot screw here. Here's some threads. Here's some threads. There is my actual pivot point. What you're referring to is right here, the head. There are some pivot screw systems that use this true tapered system with a headless pivot screw. And that pivot screw would basically look like this, and then it would go right into whatever type of pivot you have. So there's no head on it. Okay. We go in later in our series, we're going to talk about some headless pivot screws and why they are maybe a little bit easier to fit because they don't have a head. So, but yes, that is a good question. Come on over here, Rick. See?
Yeah, let's.
So both of us, we'll just point to it together. Maybe they'll get you on pivot screw. There we go. Screenshot, everybody.
Everybody take that true tapered pivot, put it in the comments below. Next week we will be back in our normal studio area. We'll have some information from the NAPERT conference to share with you. What else do we have for next week? And we'll be doing the false taper.
That's right. Yep. So you'll see why this is the true taper and see the difference between the true taper and the false taper.
Cool.
Okay, it's all going to be right in here. So, fantastic. Now back to just me.